Well, today I spent most of the day out here working on cold frames, and you can see starting to make some good progress. They're in position where we want them to go, but that's really not what this vlog is about. I wanted to show you also what was a product of today, which was a setup for worm casting tea. And so I thought I'd show you a little bit what I have set up here. Just a barrel that we had sitting here on the property, and we got talking about tea and thinking, man, we've got to make tea with our worm castings. And really that's what we've been doing. We've been feeding the byproduct, which is the water that flows through the worm bins. I think you say leachate or leachate, something like that. But we've been using that here in the wicking beds. However, we just don't have enough. So we started with a worm casting tea bin today. Found just some fittings that we had here. Already had this spool sitting here. Jerry had that painted up, ready to go. And I had ordered an air pump, and it's an Active Aqua air pump. I'll show it to you in just a minute. But this little manifold came with it. So what I did was just screwed some holes here, or drilled some holes, and zip tied this thing to the barrel. And right now all we have in the bottom of this, and I'll show you the activity, is one of these little stones here. And I have another one here just in case. I'll put a link down in the description, but this is the 2x2 by 1/4 inch air stone, and this one here is a 4-inch disc. Now I haven't put this in there yet. However, I'm saving this because I want to use it on an airlift pump that I have planned for the aquaponics system. So hanging here in the tank is just a straight rod or little piece of angle that I found using zip ties hanging off of a Werner ladder rail into a sock. And the reason why I put the worm castings, or the vermicompost, however you want to call that, in the sock like this is so that during every day when I want to change this out, all I have to do is pull the sock out, dump out the old worm castings and put more in, and then just drop it right back in the water. And it's stiff, so it forces it to stay suspended in the middle of the tank, and really it's getting aerated quite well. The airline, it just runs down here. It's a clear airline that we had, and it runs into the basement, and I'll show you where that comes out down inside the basement. Here on the end of the basement where I was showing you where the line comes in, we have this all spooled up here just because I didn't want to cut this line. We might need it for something we might need it to be longer at some point, but it comes in the hole here where there's an access hole on the end of the basement. This is the pump. It's an Active Aqua Pump, and we just used some little nails to hold it in place. So far, I really think this is going to be a good pump. From what I could find just by doing a little research, it looked like this thing was going to work. And give me a couple of months and I'll let you know what I think about it. But for now, it's really moving a lot of air. The worm castings are coming from the red wigglers right now, and for the most part, that's where you're going to continue to see the worm castings come from here on the property, simply because they produce a volume of worm castings. And you can see here, if I get in there, I put a large amount of food in there, and they're still trying to get through it. But you can see this is almost 100% worm castings. And let me just find a big colony of red wigglers for you so you can kind of see what it looks like when there's a lot of them in there. That's a decent amount of them. That's still not as much as what I've seen before. I've pulled up a handful of what should have been dirt, and it was a handful of worms with very little dirt there. So they really do populate, and it's getting to the point now where with this worm bin, I'm pretty much ready to split it up and divide it into thirds and turn it into 3 worm bins and start really looking to produce worm castings, simply because we're going to use it here. So there you have it. I hope that's been an informative little video for you and gives you some ideas on something that you can try. If you haven't ever made worm casting tea before, or vermicompost tea, I'd like to hear if you have any questions. I'd be glad to help them or help you. And if you have made vermicompost tea in the past, I'd like to hear what you do to make vermicompost tea. You always want to, I forgot to tell you before, you always want to add molasses. And what that molasses will do, or give you, you really need a sugar, but molasses works the best. But what that molasses will do is it gives you the bacteria what it needs to survive, and it keeps it from going anaerobic, and it keeps it an aerobic bacteria. So we'll get into more on that if you want me to on another video. I'll be glad to do that. But for now, I thought that was enough to just share with you what I'm doing, and I'd like to hear if you would have done anything different, what you would change, and how you would do it different on your system if you were to make one. More soon. God bless.